Hey guys, so what we're going to be working on today is we're going to talk about 5b, the sum to product and the product to sum formulas along with the half angle formulas. So once again, I'm not requiring you guys to memorize these. I just want you to be familiar with how to work with them. So we're going to go ahead and start with our first question here. So on your notes, you should have these already filled out. We're going to start with the half angle formulas. Half angle formulas are a way of taking something that is half an angle, like x over 2, and transforming it into something whose inside is just x. So for example, we have sine of x over 2 is changing to something with a cosine of just x. All right, so let's go ahead and start. Find the exact value of sine of 105. And specifically, we want to try to use the half angle values. So let's go ahead and copy them over, and we're going to talk about how we can use them. Command C, Command V. There we go. Okay, so another way of writing 105 would be actually to double it to write it as 210 divided by 2. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite this as sine of 210, which is twice 105, divided by 2, which is totally legal because 210 divided by 2 is 105. From there, I'm going to use the double angle, the half angle formulas. I'm going to use this first one, sine. So this is going to be equal to plus or minus the square root of 1 minus cosine of x. Okay, well, x is going to be the number in the numerator, just like it is here. So it's 210, which is great because that's on my unit circle. So we're going to say cosine of 210 divide by 2. All right, so from there, we're just going to evaluate using our unit circle brains. So this is going to be the plus or minus square root of 1 minus, okay, cosine of 210 degrees. Let's go ahead and write this here. Well, I know 180 degrees is here, so 30 degrees past 180 is going to be right here at 210. We want to know what's its x value. That looks like it's going to be negative radical 3 over 2. So this is going to be 1 minus negative radical 3 over 2, which is going to end up to being plus all over 2. So let me make that square root a little bit better. All right, so let's go ahead and see if we can simplify this because that's really all we have to do at this point. We're going to say plus or minus the square root of, okay, this is the same thing as me saying 1/2 minus, technically that's plus, radical 3 over 2. And if I say radical 3 over 2 divide by 2, that's the same thing as me saying radical 3 over 2 times the reciprocal, which is times 1/2. So what we're going to end up getting is plus or minus square root of 1/2 plus radical 3 over 4. If we want to, we can get a same denominator by multiplying this first fraction by 2 over 2. So we get the square root of 1/4 plus radical 3 over 4, which is the square root of 1 plus radical 3 over 4, but the square root of 4 is 2, so we're still going here. This is going to be the square root of 1 plus radical 3 over 2. Notice how I cannot take separately the square root of 1 and the square root of 3 if they're separated by addition. And so that actually there is the answer using the half angle formulas. So go ahead and pause the video and see if you guys can do letter B. Okay, so hopefully you've taken some time to work on this one on your own. I just realized I messed up the previous problem. This should have been 2 over 4. So the answer is 2 plus the square root of 3. Take the square root of that whole thing over 2. So for letter B here, the same process is going to apply, and we're going to get a really, really similar answer. It's actually only separated by one operation sign. All right, let's keep on moving. Let's go to the next question. All right, so our next question, it says find all the solutions of the equation over the interval 0 to 2 pi. Okay, so we're going to actually, once again, we're going to use the half angle formulas because I see half angles. So also the whole lesson is about half angles, so it would make sense. All right, so let's go ahead and start this. I know that sine of x over 2 is the same thing as plus or minus square root of 1 minus cosine of x over 2. Okay, so from there, we want to continue to solve because we're actually going to try to find the solution to this. So let's see how we can do on this. All right, so what we can do is we might be able to separate this out a little bit. So I know that this is plus or minus the square root of 1 minus cosine. You know what we might want to do? To get rid of the square root, what we could do is we could square everything, or we could actually multiply by the conjugate. So take a pause, see if you guys can start this one, and we'll come back to this in just a minute. Okay, so hopefully you had some time to think about it. Oh, excuse me, I have to sneeze. 1 second. Okay, I'm back. Hopefully you had some time to think about this question. Honestly, I was looking at it at first and I thought maybe we could square or multiply by conjugate. I do think probably the best thing to do is maybe move cosine to the other side and then square everything to get rid of that square root. So that's what I'm going to do first. I'm going to say plus or minus square root of 1 minus cosine of x all over 2. And we'll say that's equal to negative cosine of x, because the thing that's probably really scaring me here to solve this is that square root. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to square both sides. So I am going to square both sides. So when I square both sides, I'm going to end up getting this. I'm going to get, well, if I take the square root of 1 minus cosine of x over 2 and multiply it by itself, I'm just going to get 1 minus cosine of x over 2. Negative cosine squared is just going to be cosine squared x. Okay, from there, maybe you want to get rid of that 2 by multiplying by 2 on both sides, so I can do that. So we get 1 minus cosine of x is equal to 2 cosine squared x. So this is looking like a factoring problem. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this whole thing equal to 0, move everything to one side. So we can say that 0 is equal to 2 cosine squared x plus cosine of x minus 1. And then we're going to factor this. So take a pause, see if you can factor this. Okay, so hopefully you were able to factor that either using box method or just using your brain. So using the zero product property, we get these two ideas. Possible solutions. We get this. Cosine of x is equal to positive a half, or cosine of x is equal to negative 1. Now this is just a unit circle problem. So this is just a unit circle problem. In order to solve this, I just want to find out when does cosine equal positive a half. That happens here and it happens here. So we're going to get x is equal to pi over 3 and 5 pi over 3. And we're also going to get pi. So those are our solutions to this set. Go ahead and try letter B on your own.